Welcome, it's Gail here. This project is really about coming up with a word that describes who you are and that you can really harness the energy from it and create something spectacular just from an abstract word. And here are some examples of words that you might use to describe yourself: practical, earthbound, waterbound, sociable, determined, aged, confident, wise, affectionate, loyal, motivated, satisfied, witty, thoughtful, and joyful. I am using the word determined over here, and I am going to show you how I created this picture in Google Drawings. However, the whole point of this is, after maybe practicing this, is to create your own picture. And it doesn't have to be a symbol of a butterfly. It could be a symbol of a landscape. And actually, you could use all of these words or more words to describe who you are, using a butterfly or a moon, landscapes, a tree, anything that you come up with that kind of describes something about yourself. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start a new page. So I'm going up here to click the plus sign, and I'm coming over to the Google Apps, going down to Google Drive, and we're going to create a folder right here. I already have one called Symbols. I meant to get rid of this, so I'm just going to double click on this for a second, and then I'm going to remove it, and I'll create it again to show you how I did that. Go to New, and then go to Folder, and then we're going to type in Symbols, and click Create. And once you do that, it shows up over here. It's highlighted in blue. Click with 2 fingers on your mouse or on your launch pad at the same time, and then you can get this dialog box. And I'm going to change that to another color. I think I'll change it to gold so I can find it easily. Now we're going to Google Drawings. So to do so, go back to the new plus sign again. We're going down to More, and then go to Google Drawings. And I'm going to break this video up into 3 parts. This video itself is just about creating the wings. The next video will be about creating the body of the butterfly. And the third one will be about the lettering. And just by watching this and kind of experimenting with it, you can kind of come up with your own ideas and how you want to approach it as well. So here we go. I'm going to use the curve tool to create this one, this top wing right here. I'm going to click over on the left side here. I'm going to double click in the center so you can see where all the points were. That's how many points I used with the curve tool. And don't worry about it being absolutely perfect. As long as you have quite a few points there, you will be able to move them and adjust them as you want. And I'm coming over here, and before I do that, I'm clicking on Untitled Drawing. I'm going to call this Determined, since this is the word I'm using. And I'm going to save this into my folder, or I'm going to move it to my folder. I'm going to File, go down to Move, and then we'll find that folder. Here it is. And then I'll click Move, and it's showing me that it's been moved there. And now what I want to do is, before I get started, I also want to bring up guidelines. I have rulers on, and while you don't need to have rulers on, I'll show you where everything is. Just go to View. If you click on Show Ruler, a check mark will appear like I have it. Then I'm going down to Guides. I'm just going to click on Show Guides, and now I have guides. I'm going to move this one up here because I don't need it. I'm just creating the wings of the butterfly. Now I'm going to the Curve tool. To do so, find the Line tool right here, and then click on the toggle over here where it says Select Line. Come down to Curve, and now we're going to begin that curved line right there. So I'm going to start about right here. 1, 2, and I'm just kind of looking at the picture over on the left. And the closer I get it to what I want, the easier it will be to manipulate it if I need to change something a little bit. So I'm coming in here a little bit. I want to come down here, all the way down. cool thing is you can see when I'm clicking by that highlight right there. Now I'm going to bring it down and I want to connect the shape. So that's connected and that actually looks pretty good. Now what I want to do is get out of this tool. If I don't, I'll keep clicking on it and create something else. So there's two ways to get out of it. One is to click escape on the keyboard out of it, or I can come up here and click the arrow. I'm going to select this one. I'm going to click delete or backspace or back on the keyboard to get rid of that. And I'm coming back to this one. I'm going to double click on it. I'm going to get rid of that black outline by coming to border color and going to transparent. And then I'm going to play around with this design just a little bit. I got the double dots here, and I just want to see if I can kind of make it a little bit more extreme to kind of show what determination means to me. And I think I want to bring this one down a little bit. I still want to have that little thinner part there in the center. And maybe that looks pretty good for right now. If I want to, I could also, so I can move individual points. Otherwise, I can click off of it and I can also distort it this way too if I want. And maybe I'll make that a little bit wider right there. Then I'm going to click in the center and I think I'm going to bring this down just a little bit more. And come up there maybe. Okay, so that's the shape I'm going to use. Now I have it selected still. It's got this box around it and we're going to change the colors inside. First of all, I'm going to come over to this side right here and I'm just selecting the box, and then we'll go up here to the fill color and we'll look at what colors were used. So right here, I'm going to click on custom, and what we're going to do is go into gradient and custom and come up with this color scheme if you're following along with me. So I'm going to the fill color right here, going to gradient and going down to custom. I have 4 in between, so these are my stop colors. I'm going to add 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm just going to move these out about where they are over on the left. And I'm going to start with the right and choose the colors that are down here. So I'm looking at it down here, not so much up here. I'll get the same results up here if I just focus on what color is here. So this one's orange. I'm going to click on this one. And then I'm going to click on the toggle, which is the upside down triangle next to the select gradient stop color. And choose orange. Oops, I meant to be on this one. Then the next one is yellow. And the next one after that is orange. And then this one is a medium red. This one right here. This one over here is a bright red. And then this one over here was a little darker. I think I want to go, I'm going to try this color right here. And if that's a little too much, I could always bring that over and add another color later if I want. And that looks good. The other thing that looks different is it's linear. You also have the choice to make this radial if you want. But I'm going to keep it on linear, and then I'm going to change the angle to 180 degrees. So here, click OK, and there is the first wing. I'm going to click OK on this one since we have those colors already. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is actually change the background color to black just so it's more fun to kind of work with. Click down with 2 fingers on your mouse or your launch pad and on the canvas itself. Then this box pops up. Go to background and choose the color that you want. I'm going with black. And I think what I want to do is click back on this design real quick. I'm double clicking inside because I want to move this down just a tad bit more. Ooh, okay, I kind of like that. I'm going to keep that shape for right now. Now what I'm going to do is duplicate it. To do so, if you're not on an Apple device, use Control+D. Apple devices, use Command+D to duplicate. And then we are going to rotate it. And kind of bring it down. I'm kind of play around with the arrangement of where I want this to be. And I know I want this to kind of come over here. So I'm going to match this up here first. And maybe I will pull out here a little bit, see if I can make that larger. And I'm going to pull down in the middle here to kind of change it a little bit, just so I can get it as close as I can. Now I'm going to click off of it. I'm going to double click on the object itself to turn it back to points, and I'm going to start to bring these in and kind of come up with something that I see over here on the side a little bit. And let's see, I'm going to move this one over and underneath. And I'm going to take this point and move it downward. Oh, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to grab this one and bring it out more and maybe down a little bit. And I'm going off my canvas. So what I'll do is I'll combine all this together, and I'll show you how to do that and make it smaller so I can get it to fit better. And I'm going to bring this one down. And maybe I'll bring this one up a little bit. And I'm looking at the negative space. So we're not just looking at the positive space, the space that is in color. I'm also looking at the negative space to see if I like this design right here too. And that's getting pretty close. And maybe I want to click on this one more time. I'm going to bring it in just a little bit more right here. I kind of like that organic stretched out shape. And then I have this one here, and that looks pretty good for right now. I'm going to hold down the shift key and select both of these together, and then I'm coming up to arrange, and I'm going to group them. And now I'm going to hold down the shift key so I do not change my proportions. I'm grabbing from the outer corner here to make it smaller so it fits on my canvas, and everything will show up here. And then I have that, and now I'm going to come back and I'm going to ungroup for a second so I can play around with this part up here a little bit. So I'm going to double click inside after I selected it, and I'm going to bring this out a little bit more, and I want to bring this one down here out a little bit more. So I double clicked inside to do that. And maybe I want to bring this up a little bit more there. And I'm just looking at this shape right here to see if I like that okay. And I think that looks fine. I'll keep that. So now I'm going to hold down my shift key again and select both of these pieces together, and I'm going to group it one more time. And now we're going to duplicate it, which is Control plus D or Command plus D. Hold them down together on your computer or on your keyboard. And now we made that copy, and now we're going to flip it by going to Arrange, and we're coming down to Rotate and Flip horizontally. And then we can kind of move that over here and kind of come up with our overall shape. And I think I'm going to move this more in the center because I know I'm going to add the center of the butterfly later. I just want to make sure that this matches up well. And the cool thing is it kind of lets you know where you are out to the side here. And if I want to, I can grab a guideline from underneath this ruler right here and just bring it down and see if those line up well. I can also pull one from the side by clicking on the ruler and pulling one out just to make sure that's about where I want it. And I do want my lower wings to kind of fly out a little bit farther, like it's in flight. And I'm going to move this out of the way. And then the last thing is we could add like a red glow. So I'll show you that real quick. And to do so, we want to have everything selected. So I'm going to hold down Shift. And I'm going to select both sides. And I'm going to group it together by going to Arrange and go down to Group. Then I see Format options up here. If you don't see this, you might see the three dots horizontally right here or vertically, just click on that. If I click on this over here, you can see format options there as well. So I'm clicking on format options, and I'll make this a little bit larger since we're kind of done with that part for right now so you can see this better. And I'm going to drop shadow, so I'm going to click on the arrow next to drop shadow, and I'm going to change that to a red. So it's checked here. I want to come over here. I'm going to change it to this bright red, and then I get to play around with the distance and the angle. I just want to make it look like it's glowing a little bit, and I can have as much fun with this as I want. And maybe you'll come up with something different, which would be awesome. And I'd love to see what you create if you're willing to share down below. And I don't know, I don't think I want to blur it that much, but that looks pretty good. And that's it for the wings. So I hope you enjoyed this part. Stay tuned for part 2 and part 3. Have a great day. Bye-bye.